OnlyFans.
Is that our next sponsor?
Yeah.
I'm actually starting an OnlyFans where I eat. I just sit in a G-string like the Borat
Now, Danny has
swimsuit, and I eat all the meat that ButcherBox sends.
And that will be called Only Dan.
Only Dan.
So if you want Danny, if you want exclusive content of Danny eating meat,
and I just pour barbecue sauce and I rub it into my chest, and then I'll like dip a nugget in it.
Solid.
Yeah, it's pretty sensual.
So the OnlyFans thing, we didn't talk about it before they backtracked. So
I don't even actually understand. So now I'm like to the point where I don't get it because I looked into it last week and their straight thing was like I actually looked at their site and their terms and they were like, yeah, no bestiality and like stuff like that. And now, but like it never was like no nudity.
Yes, but so they were never saying no nudity. What happened at first is they came out and they're like, listen, you can't be having sex on there. You can't be fingering yourself. And the reason for that was they thought they were going to be a real company now. Mm-hmm. So they're sort of...
They wanted to go IPO and shit.
They wanted to... That's the big one. And I think that's what I was... I mean, they don't say this anywhere, but the idea was the people who started this company would love to sell it for a huge amount of money.
Yeah.
No one wants to buy it privately, obviously, at this point. So they own a company that's probably making decent profits. I think they said it was, somewhere in the upwards of $1 billion or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, they make
bang. I don't know. I think they take 20% of that or whatever. So, you're looking at a profits of a couple $100 million minus expenses and all that sort of stuff. So it's like they're doing fine, but what they want to do is sell the entire company to the fucking stock market.
And you get a way better valuation, all this stuff. Yeah, they're essentially seem to be in the pickle that weed companies were, where weed was legal-ish, but banks are like, yeah, we're not dealing.
Right. Okay. So. But the problem is they and then the banks were saying that, we're not going to be able to finance this whole operation if you guys have all that stuff because it's like a stink on their bank. And the problem is there's like 5 different like interesting things about this. I mean, for one, OnlyFans thinking they're going to be a real company now is fucking hilarious.
Well, I know the best where they're like, have they ever contacted you or anything?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they were doing this whole thing where they're like, hey, like.
No, they were trying hard to get me to do something there. But it's like, at the end of the day, I think my whole point on this, which is kind of interesting, is it all relates back to the fucking speech shit and all this stuff because it really is the same thing where the banks have been doing the same thing to, podcasters and everything forever. But now, because, these fucking people who've been championing the banks, like, dictating what companies do forever because porn stars are a group that they like.
Yeah.
All of a sudden they're, now it's like, oh, this is bad. Even though these people have been like clapping forever for the fact that, I mean, and this is...
that was the banks. There was the same thing with Pornhub, right? It's
the same thing with a trillion companies. Yeah. But one thing that these do is they get rid of. This is the same. Every streamer site, for example, built their company by being like an alternative site, and then once they get big enough, they start to go, oh, well, let's kick off all the people with any sort of dissonant opinions.
Yeah,
and Facebook did something similar where they convinced everyone to move over to Facebook and then build up in like an empire essentially with video by essentially telling people that they would push all their videos before, way more. So many publications moved over to Facebook and then they choked and throttled everyone's things and tried to make them pay for it. Mm-hmm. So it was like a big bait and switch of OnlyFans built this on the backs of fucking porn people. The same way that so many sites built their shit on the backs of streaming people. And it's kind of like the companies that don't have the opinion that fucking, when I get it, I'm going to bring the people that were with me from the start.
No, yeah, totally.
When I eat, the whole crew eats.
Yeah, no. They're just like, we want to make a lot of money.
Right. But it's the whole thing is scummy. And there's like so many components of it. It's not as like simple as just like they want to make money because there's more to it than that. And the reason they switched is because the fucking porn lobby is much fucking stronger than you're allowed to speak and say what you want and question like mainstream stuff narrative lobby. Yeah. Which says that's like, to me, the point, like that's how much this says about like where we're at. It's like when what's been happening everywhere happened to like the porn people, they actually won, and they backtracked. You never seen that the other fucking way around.
A lot of money talks, I think, and that was just like,
well, money talks, but also fucking a lobby that people listen to talks. Mm-hmm. So,
Well, they're not going to be able, but this backtrack, they're not going to be able to like IPO now. Their whole thing is like, look, we're just going to go back to being this business where we operate in this.
Yes, but why do you think they did that?
Well, because the fucking man, I know people who are on OnlyFans, like this one girl who and she was like freaking out, and then everybody's like, oh, I guess we're moving now. Like all these people's like lives were basically like a lot of people were very upset.
But why do you think OnlyFans decided to backtrack?
I don't know. They had no choice, really. I think they potentially were going to fuck up their business
because this was such an unpopular move.
Yeah, exactly.
No, they did this, and it was the most unpopular move, and the reason for that.
I'm not sure what they were even thinking.
Well, that's
like thinking how this would turn out. You know.
Well, they thought this is what they thought. They thought that they could say, yeah, you're allowed to sell nudes and stuff like that. You just can't do porn. And that would not be that big of a deal.
Yeah, that would be fine
Again, it is a little different. I mean, it's the same principle, but it's the same thing as telling fucking people who speak for a living or whatever that, hey, you can be on here. You just can't say this. And if you do, we talk,
Yeah.
It's so... But there is a difference because, it's obviously there's one of them is a protected right and one of them's, it's a little confusing what it is. But the moral of the story is what the public will is that 100% the public will of the people that listen to is that this is a, group of people that you can't fuck with. Mm-hmm. Sex workers became, they don't understand.
Somewhat of a protected class, yeah.
It's a somewhat of a protected class in the sense that they are part of, the activist umbrella.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is why that they, so for example, when these people, this is what their original article said. They were like, OnlyFans stands for inclusion and we will continue to provide a home for creators. And this is after they backtracked, right? Sorry, not the original. This is once they're backtracked. So when they say inclusive, what they mean is like, people having sex for a living, right? And then this is what people said. They are pushing sex workers farther underground while simultaneously removing safer platforms has consistently resulted in more harm, the organization said in a statement to USA Today. So they're doing like damage control and they're coming back. And I agree. Like, I actually agree that I fucking don't, you can't get on board with the fact, obviously the same reason that like when someone you don't like gets kicked off, obviously it's somewhat a little bit funny, but at the end of the day, you have to be like, no, I'm against this.
Yeah, so
even if you think that like, fuck these hoes or whatever, even if that's your opinion, or your fucking chicks doing, maybe you're
imagine some guys like so relieved. He goes, oh my God, thank you OnlyFans for kicking her. And then she goes, it's just a false alarm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there were so many fucking dudes that were like, all right, back to work, ladies.
All right.
But then when you find out this is what the reason for it, you have to be like, no, the same reason why I don't fucking think that these organizations like the fucking Anti-Defamation League and all these places can make lists of who they think should be banned from the world.
Yeah, for sure.
And give it to these people.
I mean, it's crazy too, because there's really only like, I don't know, a few payment processors. So it doesn't take much for you to just be shut out.
Well, most importantly, it's not even that there is a few also, but then there's a billion of them use that few.
I can't believe they haven't figured out a way for cryptocurrency to fix this. This seems like where we're at with everything. Like OnlyFans would be like,
I'm sure there is a million crypto OnlyFans sites. It's just this is the one that popped
No,
off.
I'm saying specifically for OnlyFans to fix this issue for them.
What do you think they should do?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's people smarter than I working on it, but like if there were a payment thing.
Well, there isn't anyone smarter than I, and I didn't solve it.
So I guess maybe a rule where you can only put in like up to your second knuckle into yourself on OnlyFans.
Well, that's the thing. They want to make these rules. That's what they do want to do.
Would that be funny if Visa came down and go, okay, look, we've reached a compromise. Just 2 fingers in any orifice max. 3 fingers, we're pulling the plug. You go, all right, Visa's pretty chill.
We're going to come down and we're going to let you know what's going to be the deal. We are going to be allow you to fist, but it has to be a fist of color.
Woke Visa.
Yeah, woke Visa.
Woke Visa goes, fisting's cool, just no white fists.
But this is the thing about like these fucking companies. It's like, so there is you don't have to, it looks like you didn't have to listen to the banks because they obviously came back and switched it. They basically, at beginning, they go, we had no choice. Mm-hmm. And then a week later, they go, oh, we solved it. So, okay, so obviously you did have a choice.
Well, I don't think they solved it because I think this decision means they can't go public. That's like what this means is they didn't solve it because their goal was to be a publicly traded company, which is why they did this.
This was such a PR disaster for them.
Yeah. But this isn't like, we're going back and we're being public. They're just like, I guess we're not a public company.
No, that's
not in the cards.
Not after this.
Not after this. No. Not if they're keeping this policy.
Dude, the OnlyFans people do have like...
They make so much money. I don't even like... I know people always want more and more money, but like... What do you think you're going to turn OnlyFans into? Netflix or something?
It's
like,
insane.
It's like you have OnlyFans. It's private. Just like fucking enjoy. I'm sure there's a million venture capitalists who would fucking give their left nut to buy that thing.
If you honestly think that what you're going to be doing is people are going to be removing their cooking tutorials over to OnlyFans.
Yeah, like what do you think? Martha Stewart's going to have an OnlyFans?
Maybe in 25 years. It's like once it became public vernacular, there's 10,000 people talking about it.
It's like why hasn't fucking Pornhub become the competitor to YouTube?
It's the poster child for girls showing. Yeah, exactly. It's the poster child for women like showing their fucking tits for money.
Yeah, it's
but the thing is, so to like my thesis here, like I'm trying to relate this back because I think it's so interesting, and I saw a lot of consistency from a lot of people that fucking speak for a living and shit like that, being like, yeah, dude, I can't fucking support this. But you will never see it the other way around where it's like, yeah, because I think that some of these people that were like championing fucking everyone getting kicked off from payment processing, you're like, yeah, you don't like it when it comes to your thing. And I think it was such that old thing where it's like, well, yeah, everyone loves everything getting taken away when it's happening to people they don't like.
For sure.
And then it gets fucking turned on them or whatever.
Yeah, I think a lot of those people were just like, yeah, I'll just be silent until this passes.
Who said that?
Oh, a lot of people who are like, you know, in terms of in favor of taking away the payment process from stuff they don't like. And then the OnlyFans thing happens and they're like, you know, they're probably not in favor and they're just like, I'll just not say anything. They're not going to come out and explicitly be like, oh, this is an abomination.
I think they did. I think
some
lot of people did. I mean, I'm doing that right now.
Yeah. But I know. I'm saying that, but I'm saying I think a lot of people didn't.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that, there are a lot of people that fucking probably.
No, I'm saying on the other side, you're not in favor of taking.
No, I saw fucking a lot. There's no shortage of, right wing people being like porn should be illegal and whatever, like old school fucking conservative takes or whatever. But the fucking, they're trying to lock up the fucking titties. It's like, yeah, if you're going to fucking have everything free. But it's the double standard. It's like, yeah, I'm like fucking girls be able to be prostitutes, whatever. But I can't fucking like say no words.
Yeah. Has the Taliban?
And it's one thing saying a private company, but it's another thing the platforms. See, I'm always about the thing that's like, listen, if someone wants to, if Hollywood wants to say this is who's in our movies, if fucking companies want to say this is who we're gonna fire for whatever reason, I don't know, sure, but like, it's a lot different than the platforms that like control this stuff, and that's why this one, it in my opinion, does kind of fall under that a little bit.
Yeah. Has the Taliban given their opinion on whether they think OnlyFans should be?
They're pro, yeah.
They're pro OnlyFans?
Well, they think it's part of the degeneration of America that will help
them
succeed.
Totally. Yeah. They're just like, anything that'll get...
Yeah. You're making us more attractive. You're giving us something to point to where we go to the Taliban and the girls are like, hey, can I drive? And you go, you know what happens when you start driving?
Yeah. Let me just pull this up.
Look at this. This is like, what you want to be doing?
It's like, oh my God, I can see her ankle.
And they're like, listen, you married me so you didn't have to be a prostitute. This is what you want to be? All right, give me the keys. Give me the keys.
Where are the keys?
And I know I'm drilling this down, but they said, punishing sex workers just push them underground. Well, what do you think taking all the people that you think have bad opinions and putting them on the fucking dark web does?
Podcast circuit.
Right?
And all the OnlyFans girls are going to be like, I guess we're podcasters now?
I think a lot of them probably already had podcasts that weren't successful. And then they fucking, I think a lot of, dude, you know what percentage of people on OnlyFans, like, were doing another thing first? Whether that be like an actor, of whatever number of things, and it wasn't working out that good. And then they showed their tits and then they're getting fucking $500 in the month. And they're like, whoa, this is way easier.
Oh, yeah. Not even showed. They're just like a little bit of cleavage. And they're like, huh.
I did a video on Coney Island saying that they should close the OnlyFans gap. And I got some pretty wild stuff. And then this OnlyFans stuff kind of happened and it made it irrelevant. So I don't think it would come out. But like, it really is. You want to talk about fucking pushing people underground. It's like, they always almost understand the principles. And it's like, hey, I'm on your side.
I don't think these are principled people, though.
No one is. No one fucking has any consistency to their beliefs.
No.
But it is... Like, listen, I know a fucking ton of girls that were in porn and all that fucking shit. And we've been in entertainment. We live in fucking New York. you know, these girls, it's all the same shit. They're always getting like shadow banned and blah, blah. Like
the craziest one is the girl who, with the OnlyFans that I know, she can't have like any dating profiles on any dating apps because so many people make fake ones of her that her face is just flagged. So every time she tries to make a dating app, it just like automatically deletes it because they're like, there's a million profiles with this photo.
Yeah.
And so they but she's like, this is actually me. And they're like, they can't tell the difference. There's no way of finding
Slap
it out.
some filters on that face.
She can't. I mean, she can try. They have all those fucking, you know, crazy like facial recognition shit. And they go, this is that face. And they just zap you.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Well, I guess that's what I'm saying. It is all the same thing, right? Where they're having all this stuff taken away. And again, when it's like sponsors taken away, TV show, all that stuff, you go, okay. But when it's like bank pressure and social media monopolies fucking deciding stuff, it's like a little scarier. And I know the argument, the big argument that people kind of will make is that, you know, speech is something that you're allowed, like, you know, guaranteed by law. And that's what makes it a little different. You're not guaranteed by law to be able to sell your body for money or whatever.
Shove a bunch of ping pong balls in your pussy and shoot them out one at a time.
Yeah.
That's not in the Constitution.
Right. But I think as soon as you start, I mean, you can play that game back and forth forever, I think, where you're like, it's like kind of what you see. Sometimes like, when you see like conservative people now being like, I think porn should be banned and this and that, and you're just like, it really feels like the guy coming home. Like, I think I said this before, but it's like the guy coming home and being like, we're never visiting this person. You're going to have dinner on the table by 7. And you're just like, you're living in like a dream world.
Yeah, of course.
If you think that that's where we're getting. So I think the best, you know, thing to have is like, everyone's allowed to do their things, but it has to be fucking to some degree like fair.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like this is, I don't know if this is a perfect like example, but it feels like similar to, you know, where weed companies were a while back, where they couldn't even go public because they're like, I don't know. They're like, technically my company's legal. We're not doing anything illegal. But then all these people are like, we don't want to touch this shit. Like we're just, and then now all of a sudden, you know, once one person comes around.
Does seem similar to that.
And once one person comes around, then all these people are like, oh, well, if they're doing it, I just don't want to be the first one. But the problem is there aren't a million OnlyFans. Dude, imagine fucking Pornhub went public. Like there's like Pornhub IPO. It would be the meme stock of all meme stocks. It would be insane.
We should, it is like one of those things where I get why people are just like, so is that the future? Just every girl's a prostitute? And you're like, yeah, a perfect world.
Yeah, that'd be great.
You fucking, listen, you have your one trad wife.
We're all prostitutes.
And then, you know, you on your way to work, you stop in at the prosties, fucking get a tug, and it's not even shady. Like you come in and they have it set up properly.
It's just a vending machine. You just are like, you know,
you go
like
in
a photo booth.
You can do it on your phone before you get in. You go, this is what I want. I'm going to pop in.
It's like the Uber of rub and tugs.
That would be, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Tugly.
Order a beach like Uber Eats.
I'm sure in some countries.
I don't want to live in that.
Yeah, I don't want to live in that. I'm old school. I like
it
to
should only
call them.
It should only be illegal for dudes to do. But, dude, you fucking order and you send it back. You go, I said a set.
I mean, that's, you know how like Uber is, like, remember Uber was, the app was just cars, and now you go in there's like 15 different things.
You have that talk where you have put the notes in, no small talk.
Yeah. Girlfriend experience.
You literally just order fucking race, like titty size fucking.
It's how you put fucking, when you do like a meal in Uber Eats, you know, you check all the boxes. You go,
right.
Like, yeah, I'd like extra ketchup.
Yeah.
No relish, please.